As you likely know, Adobe is both a software and a data company, and the market just seems to completely reject the characteristics of the data part of this company, digital experience. Which, in reality, I believe is what's going to bring us the most alpha, not financial advice. The market is not paying attention to the core idea of what makes Adobe such a great business. So there's two main segments in Adobe: digital experience and digital media. Everyone knows digital media is the software that you actually use to make the videos and the video-like assets. It has high implicit switching costs and is a relatively sticky area of the business as you learn the software and then you don't want to change into the future. But digital experience is far stickier in my opinion, and it's really easy to retain users on this side of the business. And it's actually one of the main reasons why I made the investment in the first place. As you may know, digital experience is a data company that specializes in marketing. And because a large portion of our revenues are coming from creative and marketing professionals, the value here is extreme, and it's the perfect closed loop strategy that allows us to keep customers and then continue to actually grow their revenue with us. Since marketers are looking for that software to create ads and they have to measure the performance of said ads, so why not just use what's integrated with Adobe? But this is the thing that makes it almost impossible to switch. Once you start creating these ads with Adobe, this is the data that you're going to be retaining through Adobe. So what does this mean? As you make more and more ads with Adobe, then you're going to be having better streams of information that are actually coming in, and the data starts to reveal what decision you want to be making in the world of marketing. And you get to see all the conversions based on the little changes that you make to a certain asset. So you constantly get to see where you need to improve, and what's working and what's not working. So if you decide to switch platforms, you're losing all of this data and all of this integration, meaning that you're no longer able to have this information on the execution of your companies. Adobe has been doing this much longer than any other company. And if you're looking to make video assets for your marketing campaign, then Adobe really is the best platform to do this. And because they have this sort of integration that no one else has, Adobe really is the best option. Adobe processes 35 trillion segment evaluations per day and 70 billion profile activations per day and 1 trillion experiences per year. There's so much data being built up at Adobe that it just does not make sense for companies to switch after they've made this initial investment of making them their data provider. And over again, we just hear that the company has strong consumer retention, showing that the business and the marketers are staying with Adobe because they just repeatedly provide value that you're just not able to get anywhere else. This is something that AI will not be able to replace. At least I don't see how AI could replace the data layer. You need a platform that's going to give you this data. So this is something that just can't be replaced. And I actually see it being more imperative as AI develops, because AI is going to be able to draw extremely valuable conclusions through all of this data that's being provided. So I see extreme value in integrations with AI and with this data layer of Adobe. It seems like the perfect synergy when the market is describing it as more of an incumbent. And the two layers that are doing this are AEP and AEM. AEP is our Adobe Experience Platform, and it's allowing for this data insight, and it's starting to have this AI supported capabilities. And then with Adobe Experience Manager, you're able to create, manage, and optimize all of your ads and all of your digital assets so you understand how they're being delivered. I mean, we could talk about AEM and AEP all day, but we have to ask the question, are they really providing value for the company? And when we go to look at digital experience, we see that it's growing at 9% per year in 2025. I can't get specific figures on digital experience for 2026 because they've decided to not report these separately at this point. But we do know that the figures of growth were very strong for 2025 out of 2024. And we're talking about a company that's priced for decline. So these revenues are increasing, but these are also revenues that are going to be sticking around, in my opinion, because once you start with the data that you're going to be pulling, you're not really going to want to change because you're going to have such strong data layers, such strong signals through Adobe that it just doesn't make sense to change to me. And we see that the components of digital experience are growing extremely fast. So GenStudio, AEP, and AEM are growing at 20% year over year, with enterprise consumers that are over 10 million and ARR growing greater than 20% year over year. So the big businesses that are deciding to be implemented with Adobe are growing extremely extremely fast, and they're deciding to be more integrated or to start getting integrated with Adobe. And then when we look at Gen Studio, we see that ARR grew 25% year over year, and we see that Gen Studio has surpassed 1 billion in ending ARR. So a component of digital experience side of the business that is an AI integration has hit 1 billion in ARR. That just does not seem like a company that's suffering from a space in which AI is being introduced, but rather a company that's benefiting from it. And to top off the AI fears, 80% of those who have used AEP and AEM are now using the agentic capabilities that are built into the products. Just like we thought, agentic and AI are really providing value in the world of these data plays for Adobe. This is just not a business line that's shrinking, it's actually growing, and it's becoming stronger each and every earnings report, in my opinion. The valuation of Adobe is just not worth it when you understand the overall synergy and how valuable the business is when you combine both digital experience and digital media. And I just don't see any signal that businesses are going to be changing their software or data provider anytime soon. It just doesn't make sense to them. And Adobe is completely prepared for this agentic push into the market, and they're also benefiting proportionally from the rest of the market. We see that Adobe is building online infrastructure needed from AI growth in their own business. Adobe reported traffic to retail sites of LLMs increasing nearly 7 times, bringing qualified referrals that convert 31% higher and generate 254% more revenue per visit. And out of these discoveries, Adobe has created Adobe LLM Optimizer and Adobe Brand Concierge, which are products that are specifically meant to enhance discoverability of websites by LLMs to significantly increase the traffic of those that are integrated with Adobe. I mean, I don't even think I have to explain how valuable that is. I think we've all asked ChatGPT for something to buy in a realm that we just don't understand. It's linked us to something, and then we've decided to buy. And I mean, I'm not even making that up. From the data, we see that LLMs almost act as a salesman, and from them, overall traffic is increasing, but also conversion is increasing as well. And the truth is, in the age of AI, businesses have expanded with Adobe rather than stagnated, showing that it's important more than ever to produce with Adobe. 40% of the top 50 enterprise accounts have doubled their ARR spend since the start of 2023. That's not just retention, it's explosive during the most vulnerable age of Adobe. Well, at least according to the standards of the stock market. And as we know from this video I've already made, in which I've decided to make an investment in Adobe, all Adobe has to do is keep cash flow flat in order for the company to be undervalued, and as it's currently priced for a decline. So as long as we're able to retain this growth in the company, it's clear to me that there's immense value in the Adobe investment. As revenues are increasing in the digital experience layer, the part of the company that is the stickiest is still growing, meaning that the revenue that we're making in this company is likely to stay for years to come, just as past revenue has proven. And while past results are not indicative of future success, I do believe that there's enough value in the data that Adobe is providing its customers for it to just be a worthwhile investment. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe so I can keep putting these out.